watching the Gambia radio and television services, and this for you is Multi-Sports, your weekly midweek sports show that comes your way every Wednesday at this time of the night. Welcome to another edition of the Multi-Sports show. And tonight, we'll be discussing exclusively about the Gambia's game against Gabon, which ended in a win for the Scorpions of the Gambia, 2-1, a vital win, one of the most important victories in the history of Gambian football. You've watched the actions on Monday from the Independence Stadium on the Gambia radio and television services. And we are back here to review the game, analyze the game, and then look forward to what is coming up. And with me in the studio is Musa Sise, President of the Gambia Sports Journalists Association, member of the Events Management Committee, who were behind the scenes to put up a very successful match in a very awkward situation. Musa, welcome to Multi-Sports.
Thank you very much, Modu. I mean, that's a very good description and intro to what happened Monday night at the Independence Stadium. Thank you very much.
I hope you have regained your voice.
Yeah, I mean, to a bit, yes. I had to nurse myself, which, of course, you know, it is the way things are, and you have to take an early night and really muscle up and get on with the job.
Right. In the build-up to the game, you were very busy putting up things together. For the first time, the game has to be played under closed doors, with all the restrictions, all the guidelines from CAF. It was very tough, coupled with the anxiety, the feeling of getting the win, and the boys did very well to win. When you went back home and was reflecting on the game, what was the feeling like?
Modu, before that, I have to go back to the away game in Gabon, when the boys went away and unfortunately lost. That even multiplied the pressure. Of knowing that firstly the game is going to be played behind closed doors. Secondly, we needed to win. Even though we were not involved in the technical preparation of the game, but logistically, psychologically, and otherwise we're all involved in a way, because what has to go around, you must make sure that you're not responsible for anything that's going to make the Scorpions fall short of their desired objective on the day, and that is making sure that you go by all the protocols that are being imposed on you by CAF. Go by the regulations nationally that are on the ground. You also want to go by the desires of the public, who definitely want to see their public, their team play, and you can't do much about it. With all the difficulties, that were thrown at you, you have to consume and deal with all these things. For the first time, we also have to remember that this is the maiden time that football in this country has been played behind closed doors because of a pandemic. We are not alone, but it's so strange to us knowing fully well what happens at the Independence Stadium in every single international football match. More so when the Gambia is on the brink, for obvious reasons, because we were hoping that this game was a decider which could propel us to the next level in getting ready to take on Angola for that final bath in qualifying for Cameroon 2021. It's very important. It was a very, very tough one, both psychologically from the EMC, which I am part of, from the Media and Publicity Committee of the Federation that I headed, and all other subcommittees, security, protocol, you name it. It's been tough.
It's been tough, but it has been a worthy one.
Absolutely. Anything for country should be something that anybody, if you call yourself a national, you should embrace and give your best shot. Just to do it is not enough. The best ever is what you need to do as a citizen in terms of need. That is what you call duty and service.
All right, you reminded that you're watching the Gambia radio and television services, and this is the Multi-Sports, so coming to you from our studios on the MDI Road in Carnifing. We'll be talking to the Minister of Youth and Sports on phone later on in the program. We'll also be opening the lines so that you can have your say on the Gambia-Gabon game. And of course, we're still in celebrating mood. But we'll take a short break and bring you the highlights of the 2-1 win over Gabon on Monday at the Independence Stadium. Let's enjoy the highlights of the game. We'll be back with Multisports shortly. Gabon led by Arsenal's striker and captain Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang up against a Gambian side with Bologna's Moussa Baro. How did that goal came? Out of nowhere, a blunder by the Gabonese goalkeeper, Moduseka Barrow, playing in South Korea. Has made it 2-0 to the Scorpions. It's an empty stadium, but the roofs of the Independence Stadium are coming down. I can feel the sound coming from Bakau and other places.
This is a free kick to Gabon. Dennis Bouanga to take it. He's making up his mind. We have a lot of white side in the box there. Aubameyang is one of them. It comes into the area. High one. Header! On the fin! They've got what they've been looking for.
Captain of the Scorpions with the dreadlocks. The Scorpions of the Gambia claiming top spot in Group D of the AFCON qualifiers. It has been a long wait and it is happening. 7 points, top of Group D, 2 more games to go. Aubameyang disappears the Colonel Bodijan. He's been
obviously disappointed, and he stays isolated.
Well, that was the highlights of the Gambia-Gabon game, which the Scorpions won by 2-1. We are joined in the studio by Bodijan, our able match summarizer on the day, and of course the competition manager of the Gambia Football Federation, who is back to his home. Welcome.
Thank you very much, MS. It's always a pleasure to be here. Talking about football is something that I will give up a lot of things to do. So thanks for having me. Yes.
Good. Briefly, I asked Musa shortly before you walked into the studio, what was the feeling like when you went back home after that game and you were reflecting in your mind the victory?
Well, up to that point, till to date, and I don't know how long, it still feels surreal. A lot has been put in Gambian football over the years, a lot of effort. We've had really big name players in the past, and they've dedicated their careers to Gambia. They didn't get to the promised land, but they laid the groundwork and they did the roots, they did the sowing, and now we are starting to see a generation that could possibly write history. It is them whose names will be etched in the history books, but it is the efforts of all Gambians, not only the players, but the club owners, the stakeholders, the fans, the media, the government, the country. It's a Gambian thing. It's a Gambian feeling. I think everybody feels like he owns it. Yeah. Everybody feels like this is my victory. And that's a unifying factor, and I've always advocated that football could unify the world, sports could unify the world. I've always told you that. And this is what it brings about. The euphoria is yet to come down. We're actually maybe lucky that the game was closed door, because the fans would have gone berserk.
Was that a blessing?
Yeah, it was a blessing in disguise.
Absolutely.
But we do miss you at the stadium, the fans. So, like I said, for the Gambia, our homeland, for whatever, let's do this.
Yeah, I mean, Mo, if I may come in there, because I mean, the feeling, I mean, because we left the stadium, I think, a little bit later, and I was driving because I had to drive by Jabi to Brusubi, but the whole thing never sank, because on my way driving, before reaching home, I had a call from 3 state ministers. Who were very much very much following what was happening, and they're very key in what happened on that day towards the build-up to this game, and how concerned. And the most important thing to note in here is that their commitment to what is going to happen, what follows now. As Mo said, this is just a follow-up to some seeds that were sown before, and now it is about time to reap the fruits of the labor of most of those individuals, like him and many others who went before this bunch of players. But what's more important also, after speaking to the executives at Football House, is how do we go about right now preparing ourselves for what is to come? Because what is to come is even more difficult than what we're facing with right now. That is putting a team together with every single element, stakeholder, to stand by this team to make sure that we get to the promised land in Cameroon 2021. Make sure that as much as possible, every single individual who has something to do with the team is present on the ground and be seen to be doing his or her job. Make sure that we get what we want out of a tournament.
Now, John, let's quickly dissect the game on Monday. Look at some of the tactics that worked for the Scorpions and some of the areas that needs improvement. It was going good for Gabon. One can say they were in control. They had a promising first 45 minutes. They went into the break, the happier of the two sides. They came back in the second half. The goalkeeper made a blunder, and that was the turning point. What was the what did you spot in the game that you think worked well for the Gambia in Monday's game?
I think it was bravery, MS. I think tactically, from the first half till the point where the goalkeeper had the howler, what I felt was we were not playing within ourselves. We were trying to do a lot more individually on the ball, maybe in the wrong areas. Later on, when we had that break and the goal came on, we got the lead. We played a little bit more at ease with confidence, and we had even better chances. I feel that Gabon were never that extraordinary. They didn't offer much. They did play the ball in front of our defense by having 5 to 10 passes, but they were never penetrative passes. So their main target was basically in Usman Omar Koli's pocket for 90 minutes. Noha Sonko on the right back, he was utterly impressive. He handled his own, he made the good long passes, through balls and all that. So we were solid defensively the whole game. You could not see where they could score. Aside from set pieces, we ended up conceding through a set piece. But I think it was more of the boys carrying the game too heavy in the early parts and trying to overachieve. That was the difference.
Let's look at the first goal on the screen there.
Yes.
It came out of nothing.
Yes, it came out of nothing, but it came out of something. That something is Steve not actually giving up on the play. Had he given up on the play, even if the goalkeeper missed it 3 times, he could have still recovered and played it to touch or whatever. So, excuse me, not Steve, Modou Barrow. He's an experienced player now among the lot that's playing. So he should be the one that should lead by example. And I'm glad that in that instance he did that, because there was a time in the game he seemed a little bit lacking in the energy department. Maybe he wasn't getting the balls as he wanted. But under the circumstances, the 11 that was played, ideally with all the players involved, maybe we wouldn't have played with all those hybrid strikers, the front 5 as I put them, because we also have other box-to-box midfielders that would have been able to actually carry the ball to the strikers, but we didn't have that. So it was a little bit in an improvisation phase once we get to the attacking areas, because we didn't have a proper midfielder who could calm things down and string the passes. Someone like Suleiman Mad, Hamza Bari, or a Bunsane, or the other Alassane Mane. These kind of players that can just ping the passes
and then dictate the game.
Exactly, the pace of the game that was lacking, but that was not. I mean, it was not available in our bench or the 11 that started. So under the circumstances, I think we did well.
Yes, I hope our director give us the second goal, which was...
Before we go into the second goal, we are talking. I was talking about. What Modou was. What Modou alluded to in Modou Barrow. Being out of the game, and for me, even recommending a substitution. But that was in my call. You would recall. I was saying that before the goal came, after the goal came, I was saying that I guess he had me. I was talking to him. Or talking about him.
We are talking about him on the commentary.
Moments before. And then I continue with the commentating on it. Because for me, honestly, he had a poor 45 minutes.
Absolutely.
And as you said, because strikers just need to dip in and out and then make their game. And that's what eventually happened to him. When Mo mentioned that, I mean, the goal came out of nothing. Yes, it came out of something. It came out of the pressurizing of the goalkeeper. It came out of whether I think he has his eyes on Modu instead of the ball, or even though we couldn't have seen it if we had any binoculars on us to look at what happened on the ground there, whether it took a bump that, you know, I mean, made him, you know, you know, I mean, you know, and then, you know, I mean, that created the biggest of howlers in the game. But that's also a pressure. I think it was a good move, as he suggested. Modu, I mean, out of his experience, had to do that, and the pressure is where the goal emanated from.
Then came the second goal, a very quick thinking from the back.
Yes.
Yes, and Steve, not the strongest of players, was able, I think that's the goal there, was able to outpace the Gabonese defense and did very well to set up Musa Barrow.
Yes, he's very light on his feet. He's a tall guy and he has a long stride. So you can actually misjudge him for his pace, but he's a quick striker, Steve, that is. And when the ball bounced, I think somebody was with me and I was saying,
yes, exactly. You can
I could smell it. I'm a striker. I could smell it. I just get there, get in front of them. The rest is history. But what he did after he got to the ball, from outpacing him right there, I like the way he held off the defender. One falls, and then he turns one. He could have been
Selfish.
all glory, hero or zero, but he thought of the team. He knew that we needed that cushion.
Exactly, and he saw Musa was in a perfect position.
Exactly. He saw his teammate in a better position, and he played the ball square, which was the perfect thing that you can do in a situation.
And on his night, Musa Barrow would not squander that one.
You never know, but he did what was the best option to get to the goal, because had he shot from that angle with his turn, and we've seen him try his left foot, it's not his strongest, he can use it, but from that angle you needed too much of a caller to score. So what he did was something that any reasonable player would do in that circumstance.
We have the third goal, the Gabonese consolation goal.
Yes.
I hope they give us that one. A needless foul.
Firstly.
Yeah, firstly, which I believe could have been avoided.
Should have been avoided. Should have been avoided.
At that time, yeah, because I mean that's one thing, because it was unnecessary. I mean, and for me, what stood out for me was the poor defending, and I saw a very, I mean, lazy Toldo. I mean, who was really not in control of his back line. There was no communication. And of course, Omar, with the caliber of defender he is, and of course, I mean, Buba Sane and the rest of the big men we had in there, really watch on. A big guy came on and ride on them as if they are just chickens, and that was a very bad one. We shouldn't have never. If you want to play at this level, you must be able to raise your game to meet anyone who comes your way. And I think Omar, for all his exposure and of course, I mean, experience in the game, that moment really let him down, and his, I mean, back line, because they could have and they should have. Even the midfielders out there, who, if they were reading the game, all that they needed to do was to obstruct, I mean, Manga coming in.
It's actually the substitute that came on, with the goal scorer from the Gabon game.
The Gabon game.
He's the one that committed the foul.
Yes.
He overplayed the defender, and he overran the attacker.
Yeah.
And he
And I think it was Bambalai who really gave away the foul, because he was really trying to, I mean, really keep the guy on.
But just look at the running start that Ekwele Manga has.
You know,
he has about 10 meters of running before he gets to the ball.
Watching him come over.
And the whole time, he is seeing the ball. He's seeing the flight of the ball.
He was the target.
So he can pick it up from the highest point. Anybody who's an expert in heading the ball, you want to see the ball, the flight of the ball from the point where it's kicked.
The timing, you couldn't get the
where
timing
you
wrong.
can get it to the high. So you get your timing. So that was poor communication and defending. I agree with you in the sense that I feel Omar, Nda, Buba, they are all experienced enough to command everybody assign
somebody,
somebody to somebody and make sure that everything is covered. This was too easy.
It's too cheap.
This was
cheap.
like nobody was really there. Or you just put dummies there, like just stand up.
We have a lot of red,
you see
red
all
shirts
red,
in the
and
but
only
it
the highest guy jumping is a white guy, white shirt, and he's starting with a running start. So that was something, but it came when we were 2-0 up.
Yeah.
We always have this problem of being euphoric
letting our guards down.
Yeah, we let our guard down. And for the whole match, apart from the start, when we had that problem, I think there was an incident in the first 5 minutes of it. There were no more incidents defensively until this happened.
This thing happened.
So they did have concentration for, say, 80 minutes of the game, which I think needs to improve come the 23rd.
Absolutely, because I mean we're talking about what happened in Gabon, in the manner in which they took the early lead, is that lapse of lack of concentration, and because that's all you need. I mean your opponent needs. Just go to sleep for a second and they will punish you.
Look at the goalkeeper.
One good thing about the game that I realized, in most of our previous games, we tend to concede first. This time, we went in front. How important is it to always be on the front foot?
I am of the belief that the entire preparation. I mean, some time ago, when I think Jack Charlton was the Scotland coach when they played Brazil in the World Cup opener in 1994 in America. All the preparation to come to a World Cup. I mean, months and months of friendly matches and all the logistics and all these, tactics. You cannot afford. You cannot afford to be. To concede a goal in the very first minute of a World Cup game. You are devastated, and against a team like Brazil, for example, if that happens, just like what happened to us in Gabon, I mean, that's the worst thing that could happen to you. Even if you have the best of teams, you will be shaken.
Destabilizes
I mean, if five can
game
take
plan totally.
Absolutely, because you start from the back foot.
Who was your man of the match?
Oh, that one is tough, MS. I like to, as I get older and I start to appreciate all the facets of the game more, I like to look at the unsung heroes that make the heroes of the day. Mohamed Mbaye would be one contention for me. He was a total surprise playing in that position because I thought he was a big guy and he was not that agile. Noah Sonko, I think he was also solid and impressive throughout the day. And of course, if you want to talk about Jamano, who's many know he's one of my favorite players, so I couldn't do that. Ablai Sani for a debut. Steve. The way he held his own against these tough, big defenders who are playing in the Premier League. So I couldn't do that. I wouldn't do myself justice.
We've been signaled that we have to bring in the Minister of Youth and Sports, Honorable Bakare Baji, who is waiting on the line. We want to hear his reactions as well. He was in the stands watching the game. If we have him on the line. Yes, I think we have him on the line. Hello, Honorable Baji.
Good evening, Emil.
Yeah, good evening. How are you doing?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing good.
Good. Great to have you on Multisports. The other time we had you on Multisports, but that was the interview that we had with you. But now we're having you live on Multisports via the phone. Tell us, what's the feeling like as the sports minister watching the Scorpions register a very vital win against Gabon and taking the Gambia back to the summit of Group D in the qualifiers?
Well, it's great. It's a pleasure being associated with this amount of success. I think it's not surprising because we've seen how the Scorpions, the national team, have been doing in the recent past. They will definitely have a consistent, mostly consistent team that have been performing extremely well. And so it's good to, we have lost in Gabon, but then when they came back, we were able to defeat them at the same amount of goals that they defeated us, and that took us back to being the leader in the group, and of course, a better position to qualify, which is the most important part of that game.
Good. Before the Gabon game, you and the president phoned the players to give them some encouragement. After the victory on Monday, what was the feeling like? I know your cabinet colleagues must have called to congratulate you, and of course the president. Just tell us what happened there.
The call was kind of a way of encouraging the players. The president accepted to call them and wish them well, encourage them. I think it's necessary that when we have the Scorpions playing outside or even in the country, and of course they represent the Gambia, they're there on behalf of the country and raising the flag of the country very high. It's good that the chief executive of the nation would call, and that's exactly what happened. And when we won, it was great. You're right. Congratulatory messages from fellow cabinet members, and to me, but it's actually to Gambians through me. And we've extended that congratulatory message through our Facebook post. And it's great. It's the whole country was behind the footballers, the team, and the entire cabinet also was excited that we have defeated them. And it was a joyous moment. I think it continues for like 2 days, and it's important.
When we spoke to the players after the game, they singled out the fact that the preparations for the game were good, and one of the reasons was a special flight that has been chartered, or that was chartered for them to make their movement from Europe to Gabon and back to the Gambia and back to their various destinations easy in a moment when traveling is very difficult due to the pandemic. What has actually motivated the government to charter the flight for the players?
Now, one of the reasons is what you stated. The reality of traveling currently is a nightmare. But most importantly, also, government wanted the boys, because we were told that when they travel, sometimes it's difficult to go, but also when they're traveling back from the country, back to the Gambia with only 4 days to the next game, it's usually too tiring. And we know how traveling it is in Africa, how difficult it is to travel in Africa. So they would have been here maybe a day or 2 days before their Monday match, and that would not have given them enough time to rest. So when they presented, the GFF presented that case to us, we looked at it and we see a reason why it was necessary to put in some extra money so that they can be able to hire Saturday flights that will take them from Belgium to Gabon, and then from Gabon actually in Libreville, but also from Libreville to Franceville, and then that would bring them back to Gambia, and then at the end of the game take them away. That was all meant to encourage them, but also to give them enough time to prepare, and so they have enough time to rest in between the away game, but also the return leg. Our government, our role is to facilitate, and like I said, these are players who have sacrificed a lot for the Gambia, and government recognizes that. So the only way we can be able to show that recognition and appreciation is to provide those facilities that they need in order to be able to perform, and that's exactly what the president approved for government to do through the sport.
All right, Mr. Baji, just hold the line. We just want to play you the reactions of some of the players, the captain, Pamudu Jan and Boubacar Steve Traore. Just hold the line. Let's hear what they have to say, and then I will get back to you.
Okay.
It's just one step rek, so nañ continuer di ñaanal boys yi di nekk suñ gannaaw ba pare di gën a ñaax nguur bi ak GFF ñu gën a doole, parce que soo buggee dara foog nga def dara, so nañ continuer di gën a support. ñu ngi am one away game bu ñu war a def, boobu tamit nii leen chartered flight pour bu ñoo yóbbu, because of mu ngi indi result booy bàyyi boos yaa ngi mën a recover gaaw, so nañu dimbale rek ñu gën a dem kanam noonu rek. ñi di gërëm ñëpp Gambian si yëpp gis nañ seen support yi, seen ñaan yi yëpp dal na, amuñ dara luñ leen a wax lu di leen gërëm di leen wax ne jërë ngeen jëf.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Yeah, comme daanum ko waxee, I mean, amuñ benn reason tey not to perform. They've done everything possible. The GFF, I mean, definitely they've done all the necessary arrangements for ñu mun a travel comfortably, come back comfortably, recover fast and play the football that we should do. So we didn't have any reason not to deliver today, and I guess we've delivered. And they've seen that the work they've done is paid off inside the pitch. So we hope this continues, and we will continue to deliver inside the pitch.
Wow.
Honorable Minister, I hope you heard that. We hope this will continue. Will it continue?
Well, we will try our best to ensure it continues. We cannot make promises right now. This is government, and it's allocation of resources sometimes can be difficult. But one thing I can assure the players and the population is that government is very much committed and is aware of the difficulties that they face when they travel, and whenever they're playing their match, we'll definitely do our best to ensure that our travel is comfortable. Of course, like I said, government provided funds, but of course the whole preparations and everything was done by the GFF, the Gambia Football Federation. So when we reach at that level, when GFF will come up with a similar idea, and we see reason why we should do it, we will go back to, of course, our finance minister and the president and ask that the Minister of Youth and Sport wants to do the same thing of providing a flight for them, and I'm sure that once the resources are available, government will definitely do it.
All right. In just under 30 seconds, I understand you are set for a very important event in the coming few days. That is the laying of foundation stone for some infrastructural projects, that is mini stadiums across the country. Quickly, can you just hint us about this development?
Oh, yeah. I think it's, again, part of the promises that government made to the Gambians, which is to improve infrastructure across the Gambia. And yeah, so this Friday, which is the 20th, we are laying a foundation for Kaputa, for a mini stadium in Kaputa, because they are transforming the football field into a mini stadium. And on Saturday, which is 21st, we're proceeding to Fulabanta, which is in Central River region, to also lay a foundation for another mini stadium. The one in Kaputa is going to be a mini stadium that is going to have track, for running track for athletes, and they have a change room for referees and for the players. They also have bathrooms for male and female separated, and it will have a sitting area. And the one in CRR is Fulabanta also have track, but it have the other facilities that this one in Fulabanta Kaputa will have. So yeah, those are the two things that we're doing this Friday and Saturday. And like I said, it's all meant to ensure that sport is not just within the Greater Banjul area, but we have structures that are a little bit better than what we have currently in the rural Gambia.
All right, Honorable Minister, thank you so very much for your time. We appreciated it a lot.
Thank you, Emmett, and thank you to the whole Gambia for supporting everyone, the game and the discussions across the board.
All right, thank you. That was the Minister of Youth and Sports. Maybe you want to say something about what you've just talked about, because we are running out of time, and I want us to discuss, because our group is looking very interesting as well.
No, I mean, for the minister had said what he's supposed to say, because he's the head of sports in this country, and of course, I mean, all that he can do is to make sure that, I mean, the support that any sports needs in this country is provided for by the extension going through the finance minister, where the money is to, through the ministry, through to these associates or these disciplines. And that's what we need to see. As I said earlier on, the commitment is there already. So now that it's a hand in glove to make sure that the Gambia is recognized as a footballing nation proper model.
Well, the Gambia Football Federation, of which you are also part of, will be happy that such a commitment has taken place, a one that has been
flourishing.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's been flourishing. The Honorable Minister, obviously, he's a younger guy of the younger generation, Gen X maybe. So I can see him seeing the importance of sports in developing a country. But the GFF have always been out there trying to work with the ministry, and they had a very cordial relationship with the past minister, Mr. Sidibe, and the one before him maybe was not so easy. But it is very important, because we have a mean age of 20 years as a nation. So we have 60–70% of our nation as youth. So sports,
Sports has to be.
it employs the youth.
The youth,
And it keeps them out of
yes,
trouble.
Exactly.
So I don't see how you can downplay sports.
Sports, okay.
The minister has clearly said that he'll support everything as long as the finance minister and the head of state supports it. So it's up to the head of state and the finance minister. And we're going to make history. So head of state and the finance minister, let's support our football.
Yeah, exactly. And especially we have a president who is a football fan, even though his
Arsenal, though, that's too bad.
Aubameyang was lost in the Nyambai forest, as one of the commentators put it. We will try to open the lines, at least take a couple of calls. I know a lot of people are waiting on the line. 707-4011. 707-4011. Sarah, just a couple of calls. 707-4011. But before we have our first caller, hopefully, our Group D is looking very interesting. Congo won, Democratic Republic of Congo won against Angola. Yes. Now you have Gambia on top on 7 points, Gabon on 7 points. Goal difference, Gambia leads. Then you have Congo breathing down the neck of the two countries with 6 points. Gambia to play against Angola and against Congo. Interesting.
I believe our next game is against Angola, and it's at home. And it's a 3-horse race now. 6 points, 7 points with 2 games to go. There's no real difference there. But if we can hold our home fort another time, which I believe we will. I believe we will, most. I'm putting my neck out there. I believe the boys will do it. We get our 10 points. I don't think after getting that, we will get we're almost certain to qualify with 10 points. I don't think you can have 3 teams having 10 points in a group. So we just have to, the good thing is we control our own destiny. This never happens. It's not about if Malawi
our qualification is in our own hands.
It's not about if Malawi is like, if they win here, we can be best loser or that. We get 3 points, we're in the AFCON. Inshallah, I think
and the interesting game would be Gabon-Congo, in which is also going to be something of a statement, I mean, in that both, because Congo wants to pull Gabon all the way, and of course Gabon would want to stay where they are. So that's an omen for us.
Our
very well.
2 calls. Yes. Hello.
Yeah, hello.
Yes. Good evening. What's your name and where are you calling us from?
Yeah, good evening. I'm calling out from Sukuta.
All right.
Thank you. As we have already 1 minute, I'm just appealing, I'm just saying congratulations to the boys and congratulations to the GFF team and the ministry and all those that have participated to make this a success for all of us.
Thank you.
I think this is the Gambia and it's our time, and we should try to change our mentality and try to see how best we can be able to support the team all the way out.
Thank you.
We hear the complaint that Nda was given, and we should all try to cherish that. Sometimes it is very hard in Gambia. We are here, we lose whilst the match is not even yet finished, because the match is only finished when it is finished.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sometimes even within seconds you can even score goals.
Yeah, exactly.
So I mean, they should support the team all the way out. And this is what I am appealing to all Gambians. And let us try to stop and change our mentality and change the negative aspect that we are always showing sometimes.
All right. Thank you very much. We have exhausted our time. We cannot take any other call. Let's wrap up, guys. Musa, giving you 5 seconds. Murjan, 5 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Modu, we have said a lot about, this particular game and the games to come. So we can't lose focus on what we are, about to target, to lay our hand on. So we should all focus, and focus is the name of the game for me. Let's move on.
It's not over till the fat lady sings, so let's win the next game.
Well, that's all we have on Multi Sports. We will be back for another edition on Wednesday. Thank you so very much for watching. The 10 p.m. news is up next.